Hey, killer. No cap. Fuck nigga, no cap. Get back, little nigga, get smooth, thinking that shit rap. Blew a lot of money, but I made shit back. I'm a big dog, little bitch, that's facts. Fuck nigga, no cap.
Man, welcome back, man. Welcome back to another episode of No Cap. Where capping is allowed,
but it will be addressed.
No doubt, man. I got my host in the building, Skrill Bush, Jazz. I got two special guests. FM Supreme, how you doing, Quinn?
Doing okay.
My boy Jamal Gray, man. Mr. Jamal. What's up, though? What's going on, man? How y'all been?
Oh, man, I've been good, man. Just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, most definitely. How about you? You been good?
I've been blessed. Very happy to be here. Thank you so much for having us.
I appreciate you even replying back, both of y'all.
Yeah.
I just knew y'all was going to be like, nah, I ain't coming. Y'all know we fresh in the game right now, but we the best in Chicago. Right out the gate, you know. That normally don't happen, but, you know, when you got D. Diddy and Jazz and Bush and Ball on your team, you know, it can happen. You know, let's get right to it. Friday, kids leave school.
Yeah.
Why?
Man, first of all, let me just say, we got to just give a lot of love, and I'm just so proud of our young people, man. I mean, they all organized a walkout. Thousands of young folks walked out of school and said, y'all ain't listening to us. Y'all out there making decisions based on what we going through in the classroom. We going up in there catching the virus. We up in there with 30, 40 kids in a small classroom. We know what's going on in here, but the mayor and the teachers union, y'all fighting and y'all not letting us have a voice. And so that's what it was about, man, is young people were saying, we need a remote option. No, the surge has been real. A lot of young people in my classroom have caught COVID and passing it to me. And I got people in my family that I take it home to who is immunocompromised and can't take so it was just amazing to see the young people out there stand strong, man, because it just reminded me of me when I was that age, doing radical movements. So I love it.
Yeah, man, I thought that was dope, especially I saw the young man got up there to speak, and his speech was like great. You know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
That was a good look for Chicago because they normally see us up there, cursing, wild, stuttering and all that stuff. And he got up there and spoke like this is what he was born to do. You know what I'm saying? Is he related to you?
No. I thought he was. And no, I mean, when I say I looked at him and I was over there by him and was just trying to listen to where he was coming from. And I said, this is too good. Let me pull out my phone because I got to record this because he just had his facts straight. He was saying some amazing stuff before I even turned the camera on.
Yeah.
And he had his facts straight. Y'all said when we was at a negative 8% rate, we'd go to remote learning. But we at 22%. So how y'all want us to follow y'all rules? Y'all didn't follow the ones that y'all set for. He was coming strong, man. And
he did.
He's a young boy who had a sister at the crib who was like, he can't even go near her when he go home from school because he think he'll kill her because she immunocompromised. So it's passion. He's passionate about this. It matters to him. So it was powerful, man. They ain't just out here they think these kids just want to just walk out and they don't want to be educated. They just want to walk out so they can get a free day of school. Look at that kid talk and tell me how stupid you think he is. That boy is intelligent and he loved to learn. He just want to be safe.
Yeah, because that was different. Normally, they always putting us out there as being monsters, especially the youth. You know what I'm saying? They always talking about guns. He brought a gun to school. I was smiling when I really saw that. Like, I ain't gonna say it surprised me, but it did surprise me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was like a good feeling. So was that arranged by you or the students? That was just something off the top they just did?
So I mentor what I did. Let me step back and say, throughout the movement, my first goal was always to create the next generation of leaders. It was never my goal to be a civil rights advocate for 40, 50, 60 years and that was my goal. Okay. No capping on this show. Okay. I always set forth to do what I felt was needed to do and then have young people that I pass it down to. And that's what I did. So when I moved for a lot of policies, I was in the streets many years, I became a father and et cetera. I had young people that was looking up to me that I started to mentor. Now those young people are the ones leading and now they're bringing up the next generation of young people. So they mentor the 14, 15-year-olds who put this together the other day. And so it's just amazing to see that young people believe in, like, no, we got to do this together, and we got to get the next generation, and we got to make sure they have a voice, and we holding on to nothing. We all in this fight together. And so that's what I love to see that there.
That's a good thing. So, FM, what's up?
I mean, Chicago, first of all, I'm always proud of our youth, you know. Chicago has a rich history of organizing and activism, and activists, from Fred Hampton, the late great Fred Hampton, to Bobby Rush, who's actually a Black Panther. A lot of people don't know that the police came to kill Bobby Rush the night they killed Fred Hampton. The only difference was that Bobby Rush was at his girlfriend's house, so he wasn't home. Bobby Rush hid out for several days. He was on the run, and the feds was looking for him, and he was convinced that they was going to murder him like they did Fred. And he called Reverend Jackson and was like, I need you to help me. And Jesse Jackson, he's like, I'm going to surrender, but don't let them kill me. And so Jesse Jackson got the media involved, got attorneys involved, and he helped Congressman Rush. So I was invited to speak at the Congressional Black Caucus in 2018 in D.C. on Bobby Rush's panel with Reverend Jackson, Derek Johnson, the president of NAACP. And when Congressman Rush told that story, it humbled me, because we always give Jesse Jackson shit. We always like, oh, Jesse Jackson. But the truth is, Jesse Jackson has done a lot for a lot of people. And you could ask Congressman Rush, he's singing hymns to save his life. And so also, too, you know, we used to be called Negroes. It was like on the census. And I had, you know, when you apply for a job, you have to check off the Negro box. It was because of Reverend Jackson that we are called African Americans. So it's important that we give people their flowers while they're here, because that's more than what a lot of niggas ain't never gonna do in their lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
That's really not a good name either, though. African American.
I mean, I agree, but it's better than Negroes. Give us more of a, you know, more dignity. You know.
But I totally agree. She's right. When you are an activist, one of the things that you find is that, you know, we out here on the battlefield, we taking charges, we getting beat up by police. You know, I'd have been framed, you know, with 9 felonies. Like, you know, literally, we go through a whole bunch on the battlefield. And what happens is you get a lot of criticism. You get a lot of folks who, you know, make up, oh, they out there for clout, or they out there money. You're like, we out here to save our people.
Right.
And then you look back and be like, what y'all doing? And they ain't really doing nothing. And so when you look at those who have been in the field for so long, they have had moments where they really have real change happen in these communities. My only problem is they don't know when to stop, okay? And they don't know how to build up the next generation of young people. And that's my only problem, whether it's our Black politicians, our Black activists. Like, we love y'all for the things that y'all have done, but should not be a career forever.
I agree, but I think it has a lot to do with white supremacy and economic violence and poverty. And so our elders want to die in these seats because they really ain't got nothing else to do afterwards, you know, and it's unfortunate. So I'm proud of Congressman Rush for retiring without, you know what I'm saying, while he, you know, is still alive versus, you know, rest in peace to John Lewis. He died in office. But a lot of the reasons why they choose to die in office because they want to have the benefits that you know, that corporate check that you get every you know.
And they still gonna get that.
They still gonna get that.
He was there for 30 years.
You know, they want their funeral with honors, you know, all that extra stuff. But I think that Congressman Rush realized that, you know, he has more years behind him than ahead of him. And it's important to go ahead. He's not going to pass the torch. He's not going to pass the baton. Jesse Jackson told me in 2012, there will be no passing up the baton, which is a problem. But for all that did was make me go harder. He's like, you know, all these young activists want to, you know, they want me to give them my platform. What have they done? They need to go get their own media. Coincidentally, I had made, you know, a whole page in the Tribune, something like this. And that's when it made him start dealing with me. And then he taught me how to raise money. He like, you know, people give money to people who they know, like, and trust in that order. Yeah. You go to Foot Locker, you buy a pair of Nikes, you know the brand, you like the brand, you trust that that the money you paying for that is going to be worth it. And so I take that with me with everything that I do. So I think that, you know, it's important that we acknowledge our elders, but definitely invest in the next generation. You know.
But I'm gonna say something on that because I never looked at it from that perspective of you saying like don't plan forever. Like that's actually a good point. But I'm thinking more like on the other side, the white people, they stay in position until they goddamn wrinkled as a prune. So it's kind of like a pro and a con with it because I kind of agree with you, but it's still kind of like, well, to battle they power, we do need some people that have been there 30, 40 years because they be there 40, 50, 60 years and they stay with their same exact program to keep us down. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
the reality, what happens with us is that we're fighting an economic fight.
Yeah.
Okay. And essentially, what's happening is in these neighborhoods, you know, the systemic oppression is real, and so we don't own much of nothing in our neighborhoods. They're able to displace us. We not creating many jobs, opening up businesses. Like, we really losing. And so when you have political people in place, like Congressman Rush, who was a Black Panther, who we can attribute have done things in his past, what has happened is he's not an effective leader to really talk about the issues that are happening today.
He's not keeping up.
And he's not. And so when we have to be able to pass the torch, because times get different. Every 10 years is going to be different. You cannot, you know, it's very hard to keep getting older and keep trying to get with the times where every generation is going to handle things differently. Every community is going to be, you know, it's going to start to look different. And so you have to pass the torch and be okay with a different role. You're not leaving. You're on a different role. I'm a senior advisor.
Right.
I'm on the board of the nonprofit. Whatever it is, you bring your wisdom, your resources, your funds down to help propel the next generation. That's the only way we're gonna get somewhere economically. Right now, we losing, and we gonna be extinct in Chicago.
Because we still use a rotary phone, iPhone 13 now. I get it.
I mean, we gotta have somebody like FM go out there to Congress or to wherever and be like, yo, what's going on?
Right.
But what they doing is, like, for example, both of our oldest congressmen in Illinois, Black congressmen, they missed the majority of their votes. So, you know, they might only be there to vote 1/3 or 1/4 of the time. You know, and they say Bobby Rush, he had a lot of issues over the years, wife died and other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so he never was there to vote, but like 49% of the time.
Yeah, he like 90. So
so it's just like we gotta have somebody there that's gonna fight.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is.
I want to know what happened in your life that put you out here to become an activist.
Foster care. So I was raised in foster care, and at a young age, I just didn't trust the government. I grew up listening to Tupac, Chuck D, Public Enemy, Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted album. My mother was a drug dealer, formerly, and so she was always afraid of the police. And I actually didn't like when we get pulled over, the fear that my mother would have, even if it's a traffic, you know, pull over, and she would just be so afraid of them, and she'd be so it was self-deprecating, and and so the first thing I ever wanted to be was a cop. You know, I said, you know, 10 years old, I'm like, well, hell, I'd be a police officer. You know, if I pull my mama over, I ain't gonna give her a ticket. I ain't gonna arrest her. Like, I don't want my mama to be scared, you know, and this fear. So I actually thought cops was the good guy. So I watched Scully and Mulder on, you know, the X-Files, and really thought that, you know, I'm a Libra. We great debaters. We wait, you know what I'm saying, everything. But it was when the police when they arrested my cousin at my grandmother's house, and my mom went out to inquire about what was going on, and the cops ended up macing my mother and arrested my mother. And my brother ran out, they maced my brother. And then my cousin from New Orleans, he's putting milk on my brother's face, and I'm not knowing that you use milk to get maced or pepper spray, right? So that is what made me see the police for what they are, which is abusers. They abuse their power all the time. And I think that the system that has been created, I'm reading a book right now called The End of Policing, actually. It's by Alex Fattal. He teaches at Brooklyn College. And, you know, I'm an abolitionist. I'm one of the first people who stood strong on we need to abolish the police and abolish prisons. And when I said it, everybody said I was crazy.
It went viral.
It went viral. 40 million views. But I was being trolled, you know. I was being called a stupid nigger, cup bitch, left and right, you know. But the truth of the matter is, I actually laughed at first of all, I grew up in foster care, so I was a bully. I was a class clown. I was a smart aleck. I was a really bad kid. The woman I am today is only by God's grace. Like, my teachers, my peers from 3rd, 4th grade, like, damn, Jessica, yeah, God changed my life. He used the negatives in me. Now you used to bully your peers, use that same voice and go speak up for your people. You know what I'm saying? And so, at the end of the day, when they wrote what they wrote, I was laughing. because the Bible says your enemies will be your footstool. So while y'all over here calling me these names and sending me death threats, you're sharing that video every time. So ever since 2016, I've been able to raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for my organization. My organization ain't missed a meal since 2016, so I thank God for it. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a good viral. Everybody want to go viral, but what happens when you go viral when it's a backlash viral?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It was a backlash viral. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. My own grandma was like, "Are you okay?" My mama like, trying to help me figure it out. Like, and it was just like the people was ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, police started slave patrol. No, it didn't. So you get 100. If 100,000 people tell you something like the sky's blue, right? We know the sky's blue in the daytime. But if 100,000 people tell you, no, it's not, it's red, you're going to wonder, like, damn, is my vision fucked up? Because I see blue, but everybody telling me it ain't blue. And so that's what was happening at that time in 2016. And then in 2020, when George Floyd died and Breonna Taylor, the activists were fed up. Mm-hmm. Now, there's no more hands up, don't shoot, because they ain't shoot George Floyd. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no more hands up, don't shoot, because we're tired of begging. We're tired of asking y'all to stop killing us. Now, abolish the police, defund the police, and people think that when you see that, when you hear that term, it sounds like we're saying get rid of the police. Well, essentially, but when I say it, I mean that we need a radical restructuring of policing as we know it. We need peace officers. We need actual public safety diplomats. Police in this country is started as slave patrol. It's rooted in white supremacy. It's rooted in inherent biases. That's the whole purpose of it. And so there's no way that we can reform our way out of it. There's no way you can fire a few cops. No, it's not going to, because the system in place. My dear friend, late friend, Irene Chavez, 33 years old, was killed December 18th at the police station. They told the family she killed herself.
Third district, right?
Yeah, third district this last month.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of talk about that at all.
Right. And if we didn't do the press conference, there would not be any news coverage at all.
Yeah,
like they literally, and then she's a black and Latinx queer woman. Lori Lightfoot is a black queer woman. Ain't saying nothing. No apologies to the family, nothing. We can say what we want about Ronnie Manuel, but Ronnie Manuel did go to Hadia Pendleton's parents' house. He did go to some people's house when their kids was killed and offer his condolences. That's the least you can do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then, so it's just like, for me, we need to abolish the police, period. Chicago Police Department, according to the Department of Justice, is one of the most racist police departments in the United States. Period. It said it will take 10 decades to undo the inherent biases, the racism in the police department. So basically you're saying we have to wait 20, 30, 40 years so we can have decent policing. That means that I have to wait till I'm old and my kids will be grown for us to get on.
Yeah, because wasn't the policing like the KKK at first?
And they just took off their uniform. They became officers, doctors, judges, lawyers, dentists.
Funny story about how FM was one of the first to really go mainstream with saying that statement. Mm-hmm. The funny story about that is during that time, or before, as that was happening, I was arrested and framed by the police.
Oh, wow.
I asked FM to go in my place. That FM went while I was in jail to do that interview, and she went viral. Now, backlash, but she was one of the first to even say that statement to get people to even start thinking differently about the police department. Yeah. And I'm going through 9 felonies. I had 3 top white shirts, captain, lieutenant, sergeant, all saying that I'm trying to grab their gun and tried to hit them and tried all type of stuff. No evidence. $350,000 bond. They try to railroad me. My bond judge called me a criminal and he was riding, and I was like, dang, I thought I was only supposed to be getting the bond right now. Gave me a $350,000 bond. The city of Chicago came together and raised $35,000 to get me out in 18 hours. Shout out to all the celebs. One of the first was my boy King Luke, who all came out to the county and stepped up and said, hey, we got to get Jay out. And so when she talked about the police department and really the racism, how deep it runs and how much power they have. You think about it. I'm talking about 3 white shirts who came to court every time I went to court to stand up in front of the judge so that they could try to get them to do something to me with no evidence. And they supposed just off their word. But guess what? They lieutenants, they sergeants, they captains. And if you look at their record, they got 100 allegations of racism. There you go. Several times they've been suspended for false arrest or whatever. They got a whole. And so what I do, what this is the new activism thing, is we go in front of police and we pull up their badge records. Right? Yeah. We say, oh, you got 40 allegations. You did this to a lady. You did this to a black man. And they go silent. Then the police come grab and be like, you go to the back. Because, these folks get promoted. Yeah. they get promoted. See, that's the thing about the white supremacy in the police department. When they do what they do, they get promoted. Right. We have racist families that have literally passed it down to their kids and their kids. One of them is the Cronin family. Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Cronin was one of the lieutenants on my case, has constantly been on cases beating up activists, assaulting black people. He is a lieutenant.
Still a lieutenant.
And still a lieutenant with one of the worst records in the department. Wow. And ain't going nowhere. Mm-hmm. So when she talk about that, the statement is radical because people be like, man, what do you mean abolish the police? What are we going to do without the police? Right. But we really need to have a discussion on what policing really looks like. Exactly. And what it needs to look like.
It's really just about knowledge. Because the thing about it is, one thing my father always says is, things can't change until the black man and woman has the knowledge of self. Mm-hmm. So until we have the knowledge of self and understand what we've been through, what has gone on, and that we have the ability to change, then it's going to continue to be the way it is. So, my question is, we need to really come up with a way on how we can make these kids realize that standing up and doing things like this is just as cool as what they believe is cool right now, which is rapping, being on social media. How do we show them that this can benefit them and this can be of justice to them just as anything else?
Well, the reality is we got to start building black families again, y'all.
Yeah, that's true.
Man,
I speak on that all the time.
Yeah.
Man, we got to understand that these young people, man, they out here, they ain't got no parents. They mama, they got 70 to 80% of black households live by single women. Mm-hmm. So all of them, they got jobs, they trying to provide and do everything on their own, Mm-hmm. And so that's why a lot of our young people get into the wrong situations in the streets because of schools. Just like me, I was kicked out of 9 schools. I went to 12 schools, y'all. So I was supposed to be that kid that they was like, hey, he gonna be this. Every principal and teacher said I wasn't gonna be nothing, okay? And I was that kid because they was just putting me out, knowing I was really just, had a lot of energy, a lot of smarts, wasn't challenged enough, and they didn't know what to do with me because there was a lot of kids in that school and they really don't care, so they just put you out. Yeah. So we really got to start building black families so that we are not straining ourselves individually on trying to raise families on our own, taking away time from our young people, man. Our young people need us, y'all. Yeah. And that's why we need the entrepreneurs. We need, the folks who are going to create the jobs and give youth jobs and the village. And we got to care about day kids, we got to bring that village back, man, and really come together. Then we can have some control over influencing our young people. But right now, we so spread out, everybody doing their own thing. Yeah. That we don't have no type of unity at all in no department, and we lose.
And I also too want to add I think that with millennials, Black Lives Matter, and with Generation Z, what we're seeing now on college campuses, the activist is the new athlete, right? Now kids are getting scholarships for being an activist. I graduated from Columbia College in 2016 in International Arts Management degree. I'm in grad school on a full ride scholarship. My activism got me these scholarships. I spent 3 weeks at.
I never heard.
I know, it's crazy, right? Well, it wasn't like technically like, oh, she's an activist, but it's I'm doing this work. You know what I'm saying? How can you? But and I thank God for it. There are some people who actually do care. Like in Black Lives Matter, we used to do a lot of black-only spaces, right? Where we didn't want white folks to come in because they have their own space. They don't have to say that, but they don't tell us about certain medias. But I've always been a person to intermingle with all cultures. I've been to 23 countries. You know what I'm saying? I was raised in a foster care. I was almost adopted by a white family. So I listen, I don't judge. Like I know some white angels, some black devils. Understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was Mark Kelly who Lori just fired as the city of Chicago's cultural affairs director. He's a great guy. He was the dean, white guy. Okay. He was the dean. Ron had hired him. Ron's last 2 years in office. He was the dean prior to that at Columbia, and I remember telling him in 2012 when I launched my nonprofit, Chicago National Youth Peace Movement, I'm like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I showed him my video, like I'm about to do this peace campaign, and he's like, okay, are you in school this semester? I'm like, nah, I'm not. He like, well, what can I do to get you to come back to school? And school was the furthest thing from my mind. I'm like, what you mean you give me to come back to school? A scholarship. What you think? And he made it happen. And he was like, you're doing so many great things. He's like, but I don't want you to get lost in the movement that you lose yourself. I've seen young people get so caught up in it. They chase, these stories. We fighting for justice, a lifelong journey, and they look up 10 years been past. They don't have a degree. They have a basic job. Life, and they didn't miss the opportunity. So I want you to be educated because you're going to continue. And so it takes a village, literally. And I appreciate that because through him, I got more scholarships and was able to, finish school and so forth. But I also think that when I say that the activist is now the athlete on campus, they're the most popular. I spent 3 weeks at Howard University last year. So Howard students were protesting against unhealthy housing. So they had mold in their dorms, rats, roaches, etc. And they're paying $50,000 a year. And so, my ex hit me up like, my daughter is a freshman. And I'm a Libra. I like to help people, but you got to watch how you help people. Oh, wait, we the best. But people like to take advantage of our kindness. But I appreciate that because I was able to see Generation Z. They won't play no games. They told the president, Howard, we ain't going back in those dorms. We'd sleep outside in tents. We'd rather sleep outside. And they did for over 40 days. And eventually, Reverend Jackson came to campus, Ayanna Pressley, Congresswoman, Cori Bush, Congressman Jamal Bowman, different folks were showing support, and it took the kids, they weren't going in. And then eventually the president's like, okay, we're going to do whatever we need to do. And the kids met their demands and they went back in. And so the activists who are in college, if they fight and hold their ground, they're the ones being written up back in the paper. I don't know about what current, hot basketball players or any of that right now because it's really not relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real stuff going on. It's COVID-19 going on. No one really cares. You know what I'm saying? So I think that...
what's crazy is, y'all, that activism shouldn't be something, even when you talk about scholarships for activists, we shouldn't be in that situation where we even have to do that.
Facts. Yeah. Facts.
There shouldn't be. I'm an activist because I don't want my kid to be an activist.
That's right.
I don't want my son to grow up and be my age and go be the head of a movement and getting 9 felonies. And I don't want, no, that's not what I want for my son. We are in this so that we can change the realities of today.
That's right. Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate that we got to say, man, how do we get people to be... No, we all need to be activists. Right. If everybody is all fighting for the common good, then it's not a situation where they can target J. Mall, or they can target... because we all together in a unified front. That brings me to the conversation of wealth. And if we do not start to build wealth in Black communities, we are going to keep on losing because we're not going to be able to build any structure of power for ourselves. Right. And we're in a situation where the system's still going to control and oppress us. So now we're going to need activists. Right. You feel what I'm saying? Because we got to go fight the white supremacist systems to stop doing us wrong when we can build our own power if we build our wealth.
So how can we build wealth in the community?
Number one, home ownership. I'm president of a housing counseling agency, right? I help folks, black and brown folks throughout the country get in the home. So they got credit problems. We help them with their credit, tax problems, whatever the case is. And then I got mortgage companies that's going to finance.
Through banks?
Yep. So we got home ownership is number one. Everybody should own a piece of property. If you've been owning your own home a while, you should be owning an investment property. Number two is we need entrepreneurs. It makes no sense that our Black elite folks with money don't have a fund to be in these neighborhoods giving seed money to build the next generation of entrepreneurs. From Roseland to low end, we should have strips of Black businesses thriving. Right. But then that brings me to we need to support them. So we really, it's a mindset piece that's deep in all of this. So I can talk about how to build wealth. I can show Black people how to build wealth from front to back. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I invest in many businesses. But if the mindset is not there, then we can't get anywhere. We need people to really understand that that's my brother. We're not in competition. That's right? That we together. It's too much money out here for us to be competing. That's right. That just because we got the same business, you take this contract, man, hit me on it. We have to build that sense of unity. And
it's how white people move.
Because that's how they move. I'm telling you. Listen, y'all.
Yeah, they don't have fields up, bro. The reality, we got banks discriminate. You got to fill out your ethnicity,
right?
And as soon as you put that,
which is why I fought Chase,
African American, now off top, extra lap.
Which is what I fought Chase and got $1 billion from them because they was only lending to black communities 1.9% of the time.
That's what I'm saying.
So we're going to shut down every branch
Did they
of the
really
city.
drop the billion?
So it's within 5 years, they have 5 years to push out all of the money in home loans, grants, and everything.
So that's
So
200.
that's
said,
what,
how much? $1 billion?
$1 billion.
Okay,
yeah.
so $200 million a year.
So, but
you
they,
on top of their ass?
we on top of it. But I still tell folks stop banking with Chase.
That's right. That's right.
Funding your own oppression. Like I went out there to let y'all know and to hold them accountable, and $1 billion ain't nothing to them. But stop funding your own
But the
oppression.
billion, from what I learned with Chase, to me, the billion really was like, get this young dude fuck on out of our face. Because if you look at their research, they've paid millions every time, and it's always about discriminatory acts.
That's what they do. That's why I said, no matter the fact that I was able to get, I'm still bearing from Chase. I can't even walk in any Chase in America. I'm still bearing from Chase. But no matter what I was able to get out of Chase Bank, we still should not be messing with an institution that don't really rock with us.
Right.
And we should have enough unity to build our own institution.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense.
I like to go further to JP Morgan Chase. They built the person JP. There was a guy,
a slave owner,
slave owner. And he made his wealth on the back
1,700 slaves,
as well as.
And you know what they did? They gave us a $5 million scholarship fund for that. Like, come on,
nothing. That's nothing. But I think that it's important for us to be very cognizant of American history and know that this country. We built this joint for free, as Angela Wright would say, but this country they never wanted us to be equal in society. In fact, equal to what? Equal to that?
Right.
So we need equity. We don't need equality. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is, after Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865, it was a business deal. He did not want the South to secede. It was business. The Industrial Revolution was happening. China was producing quicker. They was using the railroads. They were now using factories and machines. That whole picking cotton was old.
I'm mad, man.
I think it's very important. No, because I think that with the laws that were created, when I finish my master's program, I'm actually studying right now for the LSATs. I'm going to be an attorney because I'm going to sue the hell out of a lot of these corporations and big pharma and sue the government like NAACP. Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of people, they're funding people's death. So I think that, but when you go back to the history, you study American history. History is my favorite subject, period. These laws of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which are the most important amendments in the Constitution for black folks. Mm-hmm. Right to vote, free to slaves, right to vote, citizenship. And then came the 18th Amendment when women got the right to vote. It was never about black women at all, but they only gave black men a piece of the pie initially on was just because it was all business so that the North would lead the South. And policing came about for runaway slaves, but racism was created out of slavery. Every country, slavery was a business, and so the Greeks were enslaved by the Romans and so forth, right? And so in Africa, black people sold black people. It was universal. You did a crime, you become a slave. And so what happened was Europeans came over and they was like, okay, and then they started stealing slaves. And so a particular enslaved woman, Queen Nanny, one of my favorite people in history of the Ashanti tribe. She was from Ghana. She was kidnapped, her and her brothers, and was brought to a plantation in Jamaica. She murdered that entire family and hid out and went into the hills near Montego Bay. It's now called Nanny Town. She went back down. She killed the white family? She killed the entire family. She refused to be. She was actual queen. So it was like you kidnapped. She wasn't like a regular person. And she was a warrior. And so she went, and this is not a myth, it's like real history. That's real history. And so she went down, Queen Nanny's on the $500 bill in Jamaica. And then a town called Nanny Town, which is after her. So after she killed her family, she took their guns, went to the mountains, came back down, got her brother Cujo, and they kept doing it. And anybody who stayed a slave, they killed them right on the spot. So when the British troops, when they would come to pursue the Maroons, is what they called them, the runaway slaves, they would utilize nature. It was Africans that was very used to running in the jungle, and they would have one run this way. And back in those days, the gun was like the musket, took a long time to load it. So you would cock it, load it, but it take a minute. And so when they were trying to load it again, because they didn't shot basically a decoy, they coming up and they killing them. And so they would take their guns, they had their own army. They were so tough that the British government was like, you know what, we ain't fighting no more. They can do what they do. And so my name, FM Supreme, actually is forever Maroon Supreme. Always a runaway slave to the system. And so, the history teaches us, you have slavery happened and everybody was sad, and you had, Nat Turner or Harriet Tubman and everybody else with some good old slaves. No. That's not the narrative. That's the narrative
that's
that
the white
they're teaching.
narrative that they teach.
You know what I'm saying?
Where the fuck did y'all learn all this from?
You gotta read books.
Too much power in that
I'm just saying, like, I know y'all from the hood, but y'all really ain't from the hood.
No, we from the hood. I think, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is self-taught, I think, on both of ourselves. So it's one of those things where you in it and you feel like you're fighting for your people, and you have to learn more so that you can really educate your people. When you're on a platform, I was pushed out there. I didn't plan to be an activist. It was never in my goal. I didn't write that in my book because I want to be an activist. But because certain situations happened, like the Laquan McDonald video, and I was pushed out because I was the best speaker, it was a situation where it's like, okay, I really got to know what's going on. I really got to understand politics. At a young age, I was in them rooms, you know what I'm saying, in City Hall at a young age. I was understanding how things work. I was understanding where all the money went. And so it's just about teaching yourself and really understanding your history, what's going on, so that you can show your people, look, this is the route to go.
Speaking of Laquan McDonald, I got him on the wall over there.
Yeah.
Also, he finna come home, right?
Finna come home.
Yeah.
He finna come home. February 3rd. February 3rd. 3 years.
There was no time. There was no time.
That was
No time, was it?
Nope.
He did that with his ass closed.
Yeah.
I knew that. I saw that.
And they raised a lot of money for his family, took care of his family. Even when he was going through his trial, the Fraternal Order Police Union gave him a job as a janitor just to say they gave, just to really give him money. He really wasn't up in there sweeping nothing up. But, they made sure they took care of his family all the way through. And that's where I'm talking about why our unity is so important, man. If we don't start to build wealth and have unity, they're going to continue to kill us, push us out. We will never have any power in this country. And that's what they want. And they're going to let folks from other countries who come over, they're going to always live better lives than we have ever lived.
Unedited take. Unedited take on Lori.
Don't nobody mess with Lori in Chicago.
I want to know.
Nah.
I want to know. Like your unedited take on Lori.
I do not.
Touch on that. Rom or Lori, like what's the difference between them? Because everybody was on Rom, man.
Yeah.
Not everybody on Lori.
Yeah.
You want me to go?
You go first. I'll go behind you. As a person who had both of us had relationships with Ron Emanuel.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Hold on, you go first.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
Lori Lightfoot is the black queer version of Rama.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, so they are very close.
Much of the same.
And he put her on. So that was his confidant. That was his friend.
Barack Obama.
Yeah, but he was Barack Obama. When he came in, and when he came to be mayor, because they really kicked him out of the White House because Michelle Obama hated him. Oh. He came to be mayor, and Lori Lightfoot was the head of every task force, police board. He appointed her in many positions over the years, so they were very close. That was, they were very close friends. So Rahm Emanuel, essentially, he was coming out of a machine style politics, right, under the regime, coming to Chicago to kind of, bring the machine here. And essentially just keep moving forward all of the racist systems and enriching the folks around him. He's very business friendly. All of his friends get the skyscrapers and the contracts. And, turn a blind eye to black folks. Like, we'll come over there and shake your hand and kiss your baby. But, y'all know it's business as usual. Yeah. Lori essentially is that, but the black face. And so she will come and look you in your face like, I'm you, but really is not behind the scenes.
Of course.
And
so it's
she like the house nigga.
I can't.
He said she a puppet.
She a nigga or the house nigga.
She a puppet. Yeah.
Because I watched Django and Samuel L. Jackson character. I hate him.
Right.
I hate that character.
You already got that felonies, nigga.
No, them gone. Kim Fox got rid of all that shit. But yeah.
Go ahead.
I got to
help him out. Man, get him off the hot seat.
I'm gonna be honest, right? When the election in 2018, I sat with several candidates who were running for mayor prior to Rahm Emanuel dropping out, and Lori Lightfoot was one of them. And to be completely transparent, I didn't vote for her, but she did win me over in conversation when I asked her, Why should you be the man?
That's what con artists do.
And she told me. But no, I'm a spiritual woman. I'm a woman of God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And she told me straight up and down. She was like, I believe God is calling me to.
See, cook.
I wasn't used to hearing
That's how they
it,
get
right?
us,
And I
don't they?
said,
Cook. Always get us that way.
But she was the underdog.
Turn
So
to
this is the underdog saying this. This is somebody who don't
That's
got
the easiest way to get
That's
back.
what
The Lord said, she talking about hallelujah.
When she say that, I'm like, tell me what. She tell me a story. She literally cried to my face, like King Collins was there. And so from there, I'm like, and then when she won, and then I went to a debate with all the candidates, and I remember asking them. It was at Malcolm X College. What role do y'all think that, Chicago got a lot of things going on, but it's a spiritual issue when we talk about gun violence. Mm-hmm. What role does God play? So when Paul Valdez, who used to run CPS, said, well, we don't really need God to change the budget. It's a simple thing. Everybody said what they said. She was the only one who stood on it. Her and Gary Chico stood on it like, well, in life you can have all the money and everything going on, but there's going to come a time when you're going to get depressed. There's going to come a time when you thought you had control of everything and everything slipped. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need to depend on something higher than you. And so the fact that she won, that was a witness. You told me you feel like God was doing it, and then you won by a landslide. You beat Tony Crackwinkle by you was the underdog. So God, I feel like this, and it's biblical. Anybody in power is because God allowed them to be in power. Mm-hmm. Nebuchadnezzar was in power. King Herod was in power. Pontius Pilate was in power. These are, folks in the Bible who, were not good people to the children of Israel, who were the enslaved people. But just because they're in power don't mean their power is righteous. God will use the foolishness of this world to confound the wisdom of the wise. Just because you think this person can't win, Donald Trump, I'm going to have him beat Hillary Clinton. Even though she's a career politician, he ain't nothing. But Donald Trump, I feel like I was in Singapore in fall 2015.
Hold on.
And
don't talk about Donald Trump.
No, I ain't dissing him. I believe that Donald, actually, if he run again, I might vote for him. But these are facts. But I believe that God allowed Donald Trump to become the president. It was a hard no to Hillary Clinton. Hard no. Mm-hmm. And you just can't do all your dirt in the world, be a neoliberal, steal money from, foundations in Haiti and do different things that people that said that you didn't do. I don't know what you did, but all I know is God knows. And if she was meant to be president, it would have happened. And so Donald Trump, he was used to show America herself. This is who you really are. How he talk about women, how he, people say he racist. He ain't he about money. People about money, you see green. You see green. I feel like Donald Trump was a better president for black people than Joe Biden.
Absolutely.
Just like I feel like Rahm Emanuel was a better mayor for black people than Lori Lightfoot.
I feel
$100%.
like black people need to start doing their research because I feel like the white man sitting in the house and they going by the phrase of if you trick them, you can beat them.
100%.
You put a black person up there, we automatically go for
no matter what they the face.
And we need to really start
like right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. Right now, they are trying to prepare Arnie Duncan, who was the CPS CEO under Obama, tied to Rahm to bring the machine back, and he could be mayor the next
election. He's one of Obama's best friends.
We cannot continue to allow them to control this situation in our city. And if black folks don't understand what's going on in our neighborhoods, they better understand one thing. If we don't have a real leader that's coming from this, that understand this, that's tied to this, we will never get out of this.
But she said God don't put him there.
No. But my thing is, no. Faith that works is there. My thing is this: skin folk don't make you kin folk, right?
Exactly.
Just because you're black don't mean I'm going to vote for you.
Exactly.
Just because you're black don't mean that you have the best interests of black people. Because if you look at the black politicians in this city, and I love Bobby Rush, I love Kim Foxx, but honestly, I'm disappointed in all of them. Mm-hmm. Our children are dying. What I've noticed in my 15 years of being an activist, I'm 33 years old, been an activist since I was 15, so really, a long time. But overall, what I've noticed is that these people enrich themselves. They enrich their social capital. 100%. Another politician who I knew way before she was a lieutenant governor, who I can't stand anymore, is Juliana Stratton. I knew Juliana Stratton before she ran for state senate. She was actually my mentor who brought me into local government. She reached out to me in 2011 asking me how would I like to partner some of my community organism with local government, because at the time she worked for Cook County Board President Tony Crackwinkle was her juvenile justice director. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people in power, and what I've noticed is that when they get a taste of that power, that government seat, they become something that they never intended to be, or maybe they intended to be it all the time. I can't discern that, but I do know I don't respect it. You know what I'm saying? So there is no Calvary coming to save us. The government will never save our communities, or any communities for that matter. It's really each one teach one, but it also going to take education. Knowledge of know thyself. Knowledge of self is more important than knowing your enemy. Because if you know yourself, you know your weakness, you know your strengths. Don't focus on, is it in football, is it offense, then wins the game, and then defense, you know what I'm saying? But
whichever one doing better.
I just think that I know that for a fact. Economically, black people in America are worse off today than we were in 1968 when Dr. King was assassinated. Financially, we had more in 68 than we have today. And if we keep going on the way that we're going now, we will be broke as a people by 2050. It doesn't matter we have a few millionaires, a few billionaires. And I think that, too, people think that becoming a rapper or a basketball player or an artist is the way to get the bag. That's actually not, you can't get a bag that way. But the most money, I work for Jewish billionaires. It's my real money. Not that play money that we talking about, the money. Those kind of people don't spend money like we spend money. They don't buy the nice cars. No. Warren Buffett drives around in a minivan, Dodge Caravan. He still lives in a house that he had for over 30 years. And not that he can't afford it, but because why would I waste this money when I can put this money in other places?
I ain't living like that with all that money. I saw him. I'm like, this nigga tripping.
I'm going about like the 2008 Cadillac.
I'm gonna do the thing too.
$40,000 house. I'm like, come on, y'all. I get it, but
I think that's a little bit too extreme.
He got 70 grand.
He goes to show you that they say that they spend their money differently, and I get it. Like, we get some money, we finna buy some Balenciaga, we finna buy a Tesla, we finna buy a Gucci. We need that because we've been oppressed for so long. You know what I'm saying? But we have to be money smart. We have to be money smart. We have to grow financial literacy. I live in Singapore, and I would travel through Southeast Asia. Went to China, went to Thailand. All these countries. You cannot create a business in Thailand. I can't come over there and open up shop in Thailand without a Thai person, a Thai citizen born and raised there being 51% of the owner, and I want to get 49%. They're not letting no stranger, no foreigner come in and get rich in the country. We need that in our communities.
They're paid to come.
In our communities, they come and get very rich, right? So with the liquor stores, right? With the liquor stores, with the J. Ball, you protested the Vietnamese nail salons. But they come in and get rich. But can we blame them? They look at it like this. They're an immigrant. They came to America. White people don't really mess with them. White people look at Arabs and sand niggers, right? Yeah. They look at us as niggers, and so they basically judge them how they judge us. Except the difference is they more focused. They gonna work every day in that liquor store. They gonna work every day in that corner store. While we thinking they making hundreds of thousands of dollars a week. Period. Yes. Off that EBT, off the off alcoholics, all that stuff.
But the thing is though, because this is how I look at it, they're given that opportunity.
Exactly.
My thing is they let those come over here and they get to open this up. They getting taxes taken. They getting loans. They getting all type of shit that the black people aren't given. Right. It's as if they are telling us, we never want y'all to come up. We don't give a shit who come above you as long as the blacks are down here. We're not given that type of... We already, just like how the whites got all this generational wealth that they built off our backs, we don't have anything. Right. The same way I was talking to my friend the other day, I said, think about it. We was talking, I said, think about it. They didn't give reparations to everybody else. They didn't give money to the Japanese. I get it. They didn't give the money to the Jews. We ain't do that shit. They didn't give money to everybody else except blacks. Right. And they refuse to.
Yeah. Because it takes a level of accountability. That's saying that to give us reparations means we did something wrong.
They
did, exactly. But they don't want to acknowledge
we must have, and that goes back to the type of leaders that black folks select. That goes all the way back to politics. Reason being, we have several offices and several initiatives that have been moved forward to help incentivize folks who come over from overseas. The Office of New Americans was started right here in 2011 by Rahm Emanuel, where it's an office that coordinates all of the city government with a budget behind it to all work together to help these certain people. That means contracts. They have their own percentage of contracts. They have their percentage of jobs and departments, etc. He created an office, and guess what?
Joe Biden, they moved it forward January 20th, and 8 days after Joe Biden got in, he signed it for the whole country. Now it's an Office of New Americans with a $150 billion budget across the country. So now, when you're talking about leadership, right, when you're talking about knowing that they won't give us reparations, why don't we have a mayor that created a ADOS office with the same mentality as the other one, that coordinate all those offices, that had a percentage, you know why, but
okay,
you know why, but I mean, that has a percentage of contracts that go directly to the, you know, we need to, we under minorities.
Yeah.
They loop us all in. No, we need our own contracts, jobs, office, everything, because we're the ones that have suffered. Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's what we got to fight for, and that's what we need to be moving for our leaders to be doing, and we got to stop being tricked by the media and the system.
But let's stay there for see if we need a solution as well. Now let me take this. Think about this, right? Mm-hmm. The Black Panther Party was knowingly dismantled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. By white FBI.
Yep.
It's 2022.
Yep.
And the KKK is knowingly still legal.
Yep.
And we as a whole still argue and press on each other as a culture on voting for 280-year-old white men.
Mm. Right. Mm.
So how do we get our own when we so fucked up and programmed culturally that we still arguing about vote? First of all, why do we even have to vote for fairness? Mm-hmm. Right there it tells you, like, yeah, let's vote. If you get him, they might help you. If you get them, they not gonna help you. What the fuck sense do voting make?
Well, we have to vote. We have to vote to participate in the change of policies.
No,
right?
we have to vote for smoking mirrors.
No, but we shouldn't. You can't vote by, oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican.
But hold on, wait, real quick. What he's saying, I just want to make sure everybody clear. Right. What he's saying is correct on this. We have so much work to actually change the mentalities of our communities, that voting is here, and we really have some real problems here. And you are exactly correct. We have a situation where we don't love each other, where we are created to we were brought up to hate each other. We have so many systems. Our culture was stripped from us from the very beginning. We are here on a blank canvas, and we have to start all the way over. That's why we can't even relate to each other.
All they gave us was vote after everything you said.
Exactly.
But I also think that, you know, I'm a first generation Nigerian. My father was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria. And you know what I'm saying?
That DNA test shit?
No, his father's
Nigerian.
So
she's African. She's technically African.
I've been Nigerian, so I'm actually about to go back in a month. But the thing is,
that shit is scam.
My dad.
All us, we don't know where we come from, but she's that first generation. She really is.
Like, my name is Jessica Diesel. You're by tribe. Like, I middle name I shot name. Yeah, so I'm actually.
I seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Give us some jams on this shit.
But the reason why I mention that is because, you know, as we all know, as African Americans, that the Africans and West Indians think they not black, or they think they different, right? They it's like a other, because they basically, you know what I'm saying, when I was over in Nigeria in 2015, you know, everybody was like, oh, she's from America, so everybody was trying to see me, and my father's brother was like, yeah, I guess he thought I was cocky, because I'm like this black American, but because you think American, you think money. Everybody, no matter what country I've been to, they hear my accent, then I got some money because you from America and you over here. Wow. Everybody wants to come to America. America is the epicenter of the world. Everybody want to come here. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood, all that stuff, but they don't realize when they get there, it's not what they thought it was. But, you know what I'm saying, TV. But long story short, he asked me this and it helped me. He said, so you from America? I was like, yeah, you know, born and raised. He's like, why the police kill all black people over there?
They kill a lot of people.
They kill a lot of people, but at the time, this 2015, Black Lives Matter is blowing up and stuff like that. So basically, he like, yeah, you from this place, land and free, but they treat your people like nothing. Yep. Like your people get murdered every day. Why is that? And I said, well, you know, America has a rich history of racism. Police started slave patrol, et cetera, et cetera. But and then my father, you know, he lived in Houston and he been in America since 1977. He don't understand why all niggas in the hood can't be Obama. He like, Obama did. I said, well, their fathers was in the house. Obama's father was in the house. And it's just like, there's a lack of a true understanding of how deeply embedded racism is, and true, the trauma The PTSD, post-traumatic slave disorder, like the trauma of slavery, like we still feel those things. So it's like they say, "Oh, black folks lazy." No, we're not lazy. We tired of working for y'all. We tired of not getting, you know what I'm saying, like our equal pay. Like a white woman makes 79 cents to the dollar. So for every dollar a white man make, a white woman makes 79 cents. Asian woman make like 77 cents. A black woman make like 72 cents. A Mexican woman make like 66 cents. You understand what I'm saying? So we have all these pay equalities going off our race, but at the end of the day, like I said, race is a social construct. And it was created to justify slavery because in the 1800s, after they were ending slavery, the reason why they ended was for economic reasons, but we had indentured service. So a lot of white folks from Europe who were basically slaves, they was indentured service. They came over here, basically like gonna work their debt off, and then it was hard to, and then they would run away as well, just like slaves would run away. It was hard to identify the white folks who were indentured servants versus, so it was like, well, I'm not black. And so slavery, that's where race came to play. But these people are black. Black is not only in America are melanated people called black. We don't go by black nowhere. I remember being in Singapore.
I hate black.
But no, I was in the mall and I was so happy to see a black man. I was like, yo, that's a black man. He was like, oh, black.
Like the word African.
We literally yeah, we literally
That's because we don't know who we are.
We American.
That's why we go through so much
American black
because we don't know who we are.
I
So that's the basis of why we're so.
Let's stay on this. Let's stay on what you're saying, because it's random as fuck. What's the Tesla dude name?
Elon
Musk.
So if he's from South Africa, he's not our color. Ain't he African American?
No.
He come from South Africa to America like we did.
Same white
so
folks.
white people can't be African American?
See, white people in South Africa did what the white people in America did. They came and imperialized, and how the Europeans took this land from Native Americans. They took that land from. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Johannesburg and Cape Town. Cape Town, the most beautiful place I've ever been to in the entire world.
And
it was known that they had the gold rush. There was so much gold in Cape Town. The Africans, like, they were so racist with apartheid. Nelson Mandela did 27 years in prison for nothing. But he came out and, you know what I'm saying, became the president. And the only reason why they allowed him to do that is because they knew that his party, the ANC, they was radical. Like, Winnie Mandela was not no punk. Rest in peace to Winnie Mandela. Like, she, you know what I'm saying, like, they wanted her for murder. They said she killed somebody because somebody turned on them or whatever. But overall, they was activists, they was organized, they was fighting for our people. Like, we, black people, are the original people, period. Adam and Eve was black, you know what I'm saying? The Garden of Eden was in Egypt, you know what I'm saying?
She was black.
President, you know, but the history, the way they teach us history, we learn in lies. And so there's a book called, you know, Lies That My Teacher Always Taught Me. It's like a history book. I would encourage everybody to read that. Like, and I graduated from private school. I went to Chicago County Arts High School. So I actually take
y'all from the hood.
No, I'm from the hood, bro. I'm a foster kid. But it's like, I'm from the education. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm from the hood. My mother valued education. That's the thing. Like, she always knew, even with us being in foster care, she knew that if her kids, that was her way of making up for not being there.
No, let him know that people can be from the hood and not be a stereotypical.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm definitely like real talk. It's only about God, like God, hip hop, and education saved my life in that order. God, hip hop, and education. Because rap kept me, you know what I'm saying, out of other people's face. You know what I'm saying, kept me in my own zone, kept me wanting to be motivated. And then when I started doing poetry, and I transferred to Chicago County Arts High School, I'm in class with white kids. I'm learning about Socrates and Plato, and these white kids think they smarter than me. And guess what? I don't think they smarter than me, but they know more shit than I know. So now I got to go home and I need to read more. I need to learn more because in public school, when I was in high school, I'm getting A's and B's without effort. Now I'm getting C's and B's. And that's when I learned, and this is when you tap back in Lori Lightfoot, this is when I learned that white kids, they've been trained from the beginning to succeed on these standardized tests. Lori Lightfoot, meanwhile, you pushing for CPS students to go to school, your daughter be in homeschool, your daughter go to University of Chicago Lab School. That's one of the most expensive schools in this city. You know what I'm saying?
Say it again.
Lori's daughter goes to University of Chicago Lab School. Same school that Rodney Manuel's kids go to, all the rich kids. So it's like 5 rich high schools and grammar schools in Chicago. University of Chicago Lab School, St. Ignatius, my high school, Chicago County Arts, which costs $30,000 a year. There's Latin School of Chicago and Francis W. Parker. These 5 schools are the schools that all the rich people send their kids to. And these are great schools. And these kids, all I know is I had to catch up. So I transferred to my private school junior year, and I wasn't doing well academically. And then I noticed these white kids, I go to parties with them, they doing cocaine.
Yeah,
doing
all
drugs.
do all the
I
drugs.
ain't even smoke weed in high school. I smoked weed for losers. They doing, but I'm at the assembly, the honors assembly, the main kids doing the drugs, they got straight A's. They got straight A's. So I'm like, hell no, then I gotta go harder because I ain't doing none of those drugs.
What happens when you catch a case, FL?
I mean, they get thrown out, period. And if you even look at the war on drugs, like with opioids, the reason why now they want to, create programs and let people come home from nonviolent offenses because their kids are hooked on fentanyl. Their kids are hooked on heroin. Their kids are hooked on crystal meth. And so it's really, chickens have come home to roost. Black folks, they done locked up so many, black folks in prison, like Larry Hoover, like Jeff Ford, and so many others. For different free Larry Hoover, free Jeff Ford, free Amal, free Mumia. They you know what I'm saying? They put folks in prison for nonviolent offenses. Folks got 25 years to life, where meanwhile Jason Van Dyke, who killed Laquan McDonald, did 3 years. You know what I'm saying? The person who killed my friend Irene probably gonna get no time. Because they knocking down. The person who killed Sandra Glenn, no time. The cop who murdered Michael Brown, no time. And so what we really have to do, like J. Maul said, is build up our communities, build up the black family. Black family was intentionally destroyed by the United States government. 100%. They intentionally took the black man out the house. They intentionally created this narrative about black welfare queens where everybody know that there's more white women on welfare today and ever since welfare existed than any people in the country. You know what I'm saying? But it's really to keep us in our quote-unquote place. But, you know what I'm saying, if anybody listens to Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which I do religiously,
they be cooking
400 years is over. The curse is over. So it's up to us to pick up, like, I believe 2020 was the Great Reset. You got the Great Deception, a lot of stuff going on, the pandemic, the plandemic. At the end of the day, God sits high and looks low. And so, meanwhile, while they got all these nefarious plans going on with this modern-day New World Order, God, like, okay.
We spent all that money.
Exactly, God, as you should. You know what I'm saying? As you should. But I think that's part of it. And I ain't gonna lie. In all the years I've been traveling a lot since 2006. I ain't never seen so many black people with Louis bags, Gucci bags, like so straight out. It's since last year. And in 2020. But that PPP, but I love to see it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely love to see it.
But it ain't fair because everybody, the businesses, the white people, the other ethnicities got
they got buildings. Only got 40K. Hey, 40K, all you get them black. They getting built.
The few that only got like 150 got cooked because they went and bought a Ferrari.
See, the banks are the snitches. That's what they messed up. The black folks who got the banks are snitches. So you gonna spend PPP money on the car.
The banks was already mad. They was profiling. So black person got 140. The bank really was mad as fuck.
And you go up in there and ask for something, and help putting a hold on your account.
But I just think that it's really astonishing that we can have all this funding for PPP, have all this funding for unemployment, have all this funding for the EIDL, and all these programs, which we needed in SBA, but we can't forgive student loans.
Funding for the military. We don't even have a real healthcare system in this country, and that's why Big Pharma keep benefiting off of our health.
And let's speak on that. Can we speak on the healthcare? Because why in the fuck our culture so stressed on the government care about us, but healthcare is not free, but these goddamn COVID shots is free. But y'all saying, the COVID shot is because they care that we live. No. But it's people at home dying because they can't get their fucking medicine or afford it. But motherfuckers sit down here and argue with me and say, "Oh man, they got that." That's what I'm saying.
Everybody vaccinated.
They say, "Oh, take the shot because they care about you." That's why it's like, no, you take the shot off choice. If you want to take it, take it. You feel me? Like if that was the case, they wouldn't be fucking putting cancer in our food and healthcare. Like I said, bro, I personally know people that couldn't afford a surgery or a medicine and die. But this fucking COVID come along and they say, "Oh, we care about your."
here's the truth. Here's the truth. It is big business. This is a money game, and it's the reality. The reality situation is they don't care about your health. Because if they cared about your health, you wouldn't have lead pipes. You wouldn't have neighborhoods without a grocery store for miles. Right. You wouldn't be in a situation where they put your black neighborhood next to the refineries and all the polluted areas. Yep. We are in a situation, obviously, where we are number one in heart disease, asthma, all these conditions, all preventable diseases, and it's really at the hands of the government over the years. So that's why there is a situation in the communities where folks are resistant to the shot, and I totally understand it, because even during COVID, how many times have y'all talked about real health? Exercise. Right. The number one people who die from COVID are the ones who are obese. Are y'all going out there saying exercise? Are y'all getting out there talking about sea moss or eating healthy or natural? They're not. There's not no money in that. There's not no money in that. And so at the end of the day, we know this is a money game. What I say to folks is I'm pro-health. So what does that look like for you? And you make that choice. We talk about exercise. I'm going to run a cancel COVID campaign where I'm going to have folks help exercise. We're going to have exercise classes. We're going to have vendors with sea moss and elderberry and all black seed oil. We're going to have, we're going to have healthy smoke. We pro-health. That's right. We're getting our health together. That's right. Because regardless if you have the shot or not, you know you can still catch COVID. So if you got the shot, you catch COVID, and you got one of these conditions, 9 times out of 10, you can still die because of the underlying conditions. So we got to get our health together. We got to start fighting for it. That's why I talk about economics. We need to be bringing grocery stores. Why does Augill Gardens, all the way 130th, don't have a grocery store near Augill Gardens? Right. Why? You got how many thousand people sitting right there who got to get to Walmart 111 just to get some produce, and Walmart ain't really got fresh produce. Yep. So we're in a situation where we living in these food deserts with no support, and how much it even costs to even transport or get produce. So we started pop-up produce stations. I'm going to Augill Garden, going to all the food deserts, and I'm giving out $1,000 worth of fresh produce. And we that's what we gotta be focused on.
But how much juice do our activists y'all age reality have? Because the things y'all say so real and so deep, but the inside scoop, how much power juice do y'all have to get us on the road? Because really, bro, we in a lose-lose situation.
But the power has always been in the people, right? So organized people and organized money is what win campaigns. Win political campaigns is what win grassroots campaigns. So once we organize our people, and you organize by coming to meetings, by what Jamal does with his turn it on. When you gather folks, right? I'm an actual seasoned organizer. I've trained with some of the top black organizers in the country, elders in my age and younger as well. And pretty much you have to organize the people. We have to go fight. We have to know what our goals are, what the objectives are, what are we organizing for? You know what I'm saying? And then on top, once you organize the people, then you have to get organized money. These big pharma are, these politicians, this is organized money. You know what I'm saying? So the power is in the people. The people can actually block things and can change things, right? But you still got to have money to combat it, because that's why I'm going to law school. You still going to have to go to the courts. You still going to have to.
I was just going to say that. When you say attorney, all these things that FM's talking about are amazing, but we can't move them forward unless we build wealth.
Period.
We have to build wealth. We need to be having folks talk about, I see hoodies and everything. We need a manufacturing company that's going to make these hoodies. You feel me?
And we need Chicago brands.
And these all Chicago brands too. But we need the manufacturing companies to do that. When I talk about construction, I'm in real estate. We got no black-owned companies in building companies right before they build up something. So you talk about mass excavation, where they lay the soil out. Ain't no black companies in that. You got dynamic compaction, where they dropping the ball to get the soil together before they build it. We got site utility companies. They don't have site utility companies who come over to the land, and you got to have lights and gas come to the land that y'all building on. We don't have no black-owned companies in none of these fields that create millions and millions of dollars of wealth. Environmental firms.
And guess what I do have, though, that's sad as fuck that you say that. Like everybody just picture this. When you mention multi-millionaires, billionaires, you say Michael Jordan. Kanye West. You know, single names. But when you talking white people, it's families.
It's families.
Yeah.
But on this, think about
There you
that.
go.
On our side, we name names. We name a player.
Y'all know who the Rockefellers
We name
are.
a player.
Y'all know who the rich
side,
families of America are.
So it's like,
and that's
who
that
is
goes back to
who is behind Kanye West and Michael Jordan and their family to continue to say, Kanye is a billionaire, Michael Jordan's a billionaire, then you go over here and say the Rockefellers.
Let me just say, we don't need no more single millionaires.
That's all I'm saying.
We don't need no more. We need to build families and build unity. Me, what I do, I don't care about being a millionaire. That don't make, you know what I'm saying? I've done it. But the point is I want to make as many millionaires as possible. That's what matters to me. I don't care how much money I got, but if I can say I done created 1,000 millionaires, I've helped do my job.
Yeah. And I want to say that, black capitalism has never and never will save us. It's important to think about that.
Part two.
But also, when I think of people with money, I actually don't think of Kanye West. I don't think of Michael Jordan. I think of George Soros, one of the richest men in the world, who I've had the opportunity to meet with twice and who's funding my organization. I think of Bill Gates. I think of Warren Buffett. I think of Mark Zuckerberg. I'm talking about billions of Elon Musk. I don't think of, if I think of a black person, I think of Robert Johnson, who founded BET, or that brother from Texas who bought Ebony Jet, and he also paid all the student loans for the Morehouse College of 2018. That black, I forget his name, but that's another brother. I think of brothers like that, because at the end of the day, if you're hoarding your wealth, you just enriching yourself and your family, that does nothing for the black community. But for us to say that, he's a black person who made it, who cares?
Who cares?
Are you giving back? Are you building community gardens? Are you investing in businesses?
Yeah.
Are you investing into activists? Are you investing into home ownership, helping folks, build, climb out of poverty? So Michael Jordan, I think now that in his later life, he's now deciding to give back. So there's a department in Nike,
I mean, it ain't about that. I don't know personally what he's doing. I'm just saying his family don't. If he giving back whatever, that's his money.
Right.
But usually families come together to build foundations.
They pledge to give away all of their wealth. So Warren Buffett actually has it in his will. When he passes away, his kids are not getting that money.
Bill Gates as well.
And Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And there's other billionaires to do that, where is the money going to different, you know what I'm saying? That's legacy building. That's how you live forever.
Quick pop quiz for everybody real quick. I know we winded down.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes.
Okay.
All right, quick pop quiz. He talked about families and building family wealth. What is the richest family in Illinois? Family.
Is it the Griffin family? Because King Griffin
is the richest. I'm talking about family though. As many, they got many Pritzkers.
I should say
J.B. Pritzker. J.B. Pritzker. All of his brothers and sisters, they all billionaires.
The highest.
They own the highest, and they inherit the highest, and they all have foundations. They fund all the nonprofits. It's a family. It's family wealth, and now he's governing that and helping rich the rest of the family. And so we really gotta build family and build unity.
And we gotta support each other more. Black people support each other more.
We gotta do that, man. And build. Hey, when I say build families, man, that means that we got to address some of these deep issues on why we not getting married and why we not, what I'm saying?
We don't part two that, man.
And it's important to understand, too, that there's different ways that families look, right? It don't all look traditional.
Right.
So before we close out. Before we close out, I want to know, will you be running for mayor?
No. So that's a good question.
Will you run for mayor, and will you stay true to us?
Let me say this. I'm exploring to run for mayor of Chicago. I am. But what I will say is, first of all, my values and morals will never change no matter what seat I am, the seat I'm in. I don't look for political seats. They always say, run for this, run. I'm like, no. I'm a business guy. I help build entrepreneurs and homeowners.
Black Trump, baby.
At the end of the day, if I'm in that position, I know what I can do and do it and then move out the way. And that's all. I am exploring.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate
that's a hard no. Ask us something. Close out.
I just want to, how to
close out with a question too.
Oh, damn. Well, is camera zero?
We really ain't have enough money for batteries. Hey, man, make sure y'all like, subscribe. We're going to do a part 2 of this. For sure. This is his favorite type of subject.
Yeah, so this is my shit right here.
He's Kevin Durant. You don't let him be Kevin Durant. Like, we got to get a part 2. This is my type of shit.
That's right.
Make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow everybody on the podcast, man. We appreciate y'all.
nigga fuck fame, shit, I'm all about racks. I'm big dog, little bitch, that's facts. Fuck nigga, no cap, dog. I mix the shit with the fentanyl. You talkin' tough, get your face shot just for teeth, and I'm knocking your lips off. Ain't no future, I'm pulling up stick talk in the ring.